the Doctor, this is my section. Earth is under my protection. My planet of birth is Gallifrey. I've got 2 hearts, your life is safe. Run into the Master Raw, Missy. Come on, Alonzo. Alonzi. I am a Time Lord. No, I'm not Rick. 12 bodies and men. Now it's time for a switch. Don't look like that. I'm in great health. You were expecting someone else. Regeneration. Oh, such fun. When I say run, run, run. What's up, my boy? Peace and sanity. Sorry, I must dash. Reverse the polarity. Sometimes I'm north, but always a limey. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Jump into TARDIS, go for a ride. It's bigger on the inside. Exploring all of time and space. Oh, what's that? Exterminate. Cyberman, TARDIS, baby. Would you like a jelly baby? Time's ticking, we'd best go. A new adventure, Geronimo. I am fantastic, so are you. Best come with me. I'm Doctor Who. Welcome to another episode of D4WH, the 12 Monkeys of Podcasts. As always, I am your host, the James Cole of our little group. I'm Adam O'Sullivan. With me is our host, our Dr. Cassandra Rayleigh, riddled with Doctor Who knowledge. It's Nicchia.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I quite like that reference. That was much better than some of the other ones you've given me. Some of them I just don't understand. I just smile and nod.
I am trying to go through all of the time travel movies.
Yeah. I like that one.
Joining us is our Brad Pitt, slumming it with the little minnow. Please welcome Ashwin Segkar.
I love that. You didn't make any stereotypical race references, which is so Queensland, but you're refined Queensland.
That's right.
You don't do it.
I don't know if that's an insult or not.
No, you just do an Uber joke, and it's sweet. Because I've just been doing a gig in Callumvale. Yeah. Lots of race jokes down in Callumvale.
Wow. Oh, really?
Yes, yeah. So it's nice that it's nice to be back in this kind of world of refined.
You know, more than anything, I just want to thank you for the lift in, and I gave you 5 stars.
Yeah, good.
So there we are. We're back to the Queensland being stereotypical.
He's not an Uber driver. No. He just jumped in the back of his car.
Yeah. Yes. Well, he was at the lights.
Yeah, and I needed a friend. And
He did. He looked very lonely.
Yeah.
If we were stereotypical Brisbane, we probably would have just invited you just to do the Rosa episode.
No, not Rosa. The Demons of the Punjab.
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Yeah.
Is that set in Bombay or in a 7-Eleven?
Set in the Petition of India.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, even this episode we saw was it Yaz?
Yeah.
So it was, very
our first
subcontinental.
Muslim companion. And she mentions in the Rosa episode that she's been harassed because of being
Although
Muslim.
in 1950s America, they think she's Mexican.
Yes. But then later on, they're totally okay with her sitting in the white seat. So it's a bit all over the place with that episode.
Yeah, it is a little.
There should have been a move to the back of the TARDIS incident, Doctor Who.
They do get involved in the Rosa incident.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have to stay on the bus because there's not enough people on. And Graham has to be the one who kind of forces Rosa to stand.
Which is really hard because Graham's wife was Ryan's nan. And she was very much a Rosa Parks fan.
Yeah.
And she had a T-shirt with Rosa Parks. It was a huge thing. It was actually a really good episode.
Now, you may have heard Ashwin on ABC Brisbane or Tonightly with Tom Ballard. But before we go any further, would you care to talk to us about Boy Mongoose?
It was my first foray into trying to make jokes. I think this is about 12 years ago. We've just been talking about stereotypes. Yeah. This was a collection of all the Indian stereotypes I'd heard put into the 12 Days of Christmas. Yeah. So a different one.
It was very good.
For each day.
Performed by to listen.
Indian boy band does it. Cartoon Indian boy band. Mm-hmm. None of them have noses. We just realised after animating we forgot to include noses.
But that's your racism, not ours.
Yeah, that's right. But Indians still work without noses. I'm not sure if you've noticed. Our people don't need them. So that was just a cartoon boy band that I made about
10
12
million
years ago.
views on YouTube.
Yeah, it went a little bit viral at first.
Wow.
We were in a jazz band and apparently no one listens to jazz music anymore, so we said, why don't we do this?
Yeah. I love jazz.
Jazz is amazing. The improv of it. Mm-hmm. People don't improvise anymore, right? We've become square because we just do 4/4 beats and we don't play. Yep. Jazz plays, but no one wants to play anymore. So we said, why don't we just cater to this audience by doing 12 Indian stereotypes in a song? And then we left it there and just went home and then woke up a couple of weeks later and there'd been 1 million people who had watched it.
Oh, that was a long sleep.
Yeah, it was.
Woke up a couple of weeks later.
Oh, yeah, I hibernate. I'm not sure if you guys hibernate.
I had a look at some of the comments, and the top comments were, I watch this every year on Christmas.
Yeah, it's become part of people's Christmas joke routine.
Yeah.
I think.
All right, I'm definitely going to. We have to put a link up on our webpage.
It's really well done.
Yeah, thanks.
The animation is really good too.
That was my dream. You know how you always have dreams of making it. And when that cartoon took off, I was like, okay, maybe I could make a living as an Indian boy band cartoonist. Apparently like jazz music, not many people are into that either. So it never took off.
I don't get that. My husband's into jazz music and he's into Ashwin. He
there
listens
you go.
to
So Boy
Ashwin
Mongoose is
on
right up
the
his
radio.
alley.
Yes, he has a non-sexual crush on Ashwin.
Yeah, that's good because I've got a hater on the internet.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I found a
Well,
little
now you know
post.
you've made it if you got a hater.
He hates the sound of my voice. He says, this guy shouldn't be on the radio. He probably just got the job because he's brown.
Oh.
Yeah, he put that out there. I think that's why I came into this whole podcast with this race obsession because I just read that comment.
It's like, okay, you have a valid point. Oh, no, you've just undercut yourself.
He did.
No.
Undercut. He should have left that out, you know,
Yeah,
or just
yeah.
put it in small print.
And then you just would have felt really bad, like you weren't good enough.
Yeah.
But now you just dismiss it because
Yes.
he's an absolute racist.
Yeah.
We start with our first segment, Doctor Who News. Now, our latest Doctor Who news may be the most devastating. The BBC has confirmed that there will be no new season of Doctor Who during 2019. Our New Year's special is the only Doctor Who we're going to have through 2019.
It better come soon in 2020 because, well, I'll never lose interest because it went off the air for years and I still loved it.
Yeah.
But oh no.
What's
why?
happened is Jodie doing something else.
Don't know. We don't know what the reason is. Hopefully it's not Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, the showrunner, wanting to take a year off because they've only done one season. It could also be that the BBC are trying to save money again on the series, even though it's...
Brexit. Got to cut back.
Brexit. You got to wait till Brexit to see if you can
I don't know.
continue filming in Wales.
Ireland, isn't there going to be a border somewhere? In
maybe.
India sometimes.
Yeah.
Or Bradley Walsh, who plays Graham, is on a lot of game shows in the UK. He hosts a lot of game shows, like he hosts The Chase. So they're wondering if maybe his schedule is preventing
Or
the
maybe
series
they're
from
bringing Law and Order UK back on and
maybe.
he's going to do a season. I mean, they might all have other commitments. And I guess if you can let them do those other commitments, then it increases their passion to come back and do it. But it is disappointing.
Yeah.
For the fans.
Capaldi took a year off and then came back for one last season, and that was it. So
I hope we're going to have more seasons than 2 of Jodie because she's been amazing.
I really enjoy her.
I love her.
Now, mentioning the break in the series, unless we get an episode before January the 2nd, 2020, that's when it will have been 366 days since the 2019 New Year special, which matches the length of time when Capaldi took a year off in 2016. So if we get any new episodes after January the 2nd, 2020, it will be the longest break since the show rebooted in 2005.
There's been longer breaks. I mean, not since it rebooted.
Oh, yeah, technically
but-
there's, The longest break is between the movie in 1996 and the reboot in 2005, which was 9 years.
I could probably tell you that in days. No. No, I'm not that pedantic.
No, I had a 30-year break. This is why this podcast has been really good for me because the last Doctor Who episode I saw would be 1987.
Do you want to talk us through your experience with Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we left India when I was 1 year old, and the first country we moved to was the UK. So I was there for 6 years, and Doctor Who was king of the UK. It was, you follow a football team, and you watch Doctor Who, and you watch Blockbuster, the quiz show. Do you guys ever watch Block? Did they get that in Australia?
No, we didn't get that. But who was your football team?
Liverpool.
Oh,
Liverpool.
okay.
Because I needed a winning team. I was so used to losing in life. And Liverpool in the 80s used to win a lot.
Even after the age of 6, you're just sick of losing.
Yeah, I can't be Reading as well, for God's sake.
We lost by coming to the UK, so now we need to start winning.
Yes. So I had a winning team, and then it was Doctor Who, and it was that. I remember Doctor Who at that stage in my memory as the guy from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but he wasn't a doctor. I looked it up on the internet. Was it Tom Baker?
Yeah, but you the blonde curly hair or the dark curly hair?
I thought it was blonde curly hair.
Yeah, so that's Colin Baker.
Colin Baker. Okay.
He was the 6th Doctor.
That's who I remember. And
and he wore ridiculously loud clothes.
Yeah.
It was the 80s.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's my memory of Doctor Who.
Oh, so you were mixing him up with Gene Wilder.
Yeah,
who was,
yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
You know, sometimes white people all look the same.
Yeah.
When they're fighting crime.
No, I'm Adam over here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were Sanjeev.
Yeah, stop calling me Tracy, okay?
Yeah,
That's Kia.
I would say Gene Wilder would make a very good doctor. I mean,
Yeah.
back in the day, he's passed away, unfortunately. But
It probably
Yeah.
wouldn't be so good now. But yeah, he would have been great.
I also speculated that David Bowie was
Oh
fantastic
yeah,
doc-
he would have been a good doctor. Although he always came across a little bit edgy, menacing. He'd be the doctor that I'd go, oh, will you save me and not kill me later?
If I have time. So you watched it religiously when you were
quite
in
a
the
lot. I
UK?
think that was one of my main shows. I just remember the Daleks. So they were obviously the most prominent bad guy, especially in
Always
the 80s.
have been.
Yeah. So it was them and the Doctor. Then we moved to Australia when I was young. And I was just thinking about this the other day. There's the difference between the cultures, between American and British culture, because you got two main time travelers, right? You got Doctor Who from the UK, who travels back in time, and his main goal is to save the universe or to like save a civilization. And the other main time traveler is Marty McFly, and his main goal was to not have sex with his mum. Like, much lower standards in the US.
And yet he somehow like almost doesn't achieve it.
Yeah, he almost, which in British culture, that's not even a temptation. So I thought, and that's really a mark of how the two cultures started to split apart.
Yeah.
Because 20 years later, you get Jerry Springer, right?
Oh, yes.
30 years later, it's Trump. It all started with Marty McFly.
Marty McFly
And the
trying
Doctor.
not to sleep with his mother.
And his mum was super cute.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
look,
love that scene in Back
she
to
was
the
coming
Future.
on pretty strong too, you know.
Yeah.
I love that scene in Back to the Future where he looks down at the card that says, don't have sex with your mum, and he looks up at his half-naked mum and he's like, that's right. Don't have sex
have
with your
sex.
mum. Don't be your own father.
Oh, I love that.
Just
I love
smaller
that
goals.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't watched Doctor Who since you came to Australia?
Since then, this podcast was the first time I went back and saw it. And then I thought,
Fantastic.
I missed this from my life. I don't have any
Oh.
science fiction in my life.
Oh, you've always got to have
You
some
gotta have-
science
yeah.
fiction.
You got to have some weirdness.
Yep.
And the Doctor could be a good way to bring back weirdness. Because I feel like I've lost Star Wars. There's just been too many prequels. I've just lost the
Yeah,
story.
you start to lose the love after a while, don't you?
Yeah.
Because we've reached the point where there's a Star Wars movie every year, then there's TV shows, then there's, cartoons, there's all this sort of stuff. Meanwhile, with Doctor Who, it's like, oh yeah, there's not going to be a season in 2019, and we're like, what's happening? No!
Well, that's the other difference between the UK and the US, isn't it? If the US was running Doctor Who and had the success that it has now, we'd be saturated in
Yes.
Yeah,
Whereas-
there'd be movies every year.
For some reason, the UK go, it's doing really well. Let's put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
I don't get them, but anyway.
It's estimated that Doctor Who makes the BBC about $10 million a year, and yet there's always this constant thing of like, is it going to be back next year? Is it
Yeah.
not? One of their biggest grossing properties that they have.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, but they're still funded by the government, so they feel
Yes.
casual. They can
Yeah.
still let these rich properties go, whereas the American companies need the money to come in. And
Well, you would think that, the ABC wants to make money, don't they? And
Yeah.
don't the BBC? I don't know.
So today's episode is the Battle of Ranskoor Av Kolos, and I thought the Tsuranga Conundrum was going to be the hardest thing to say this season. Season 11, episode 10, written by Chris Chibnall and directed by Jamie Childs.
I love him. He
Directed
does good.
4 episodes.
He does
Looks like the
really good
directors
work.
direct blocks of 2 episodes each. He's done 2 blocks. Originally aired on the BBC December 9th, 2018. Did you know about the female doctor? Did you watch her announcement video?
yeah, that was all over the news.
Yeah.
So we'd all heard about the female Doctor, but that was the first time I saw it again. And I didn't realise this was her first season.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought she'd been around for a couple of years now doing this.
No, well, they announced halfway through last year, I think it was. So we've been waiting a year and a half for this season.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
a long time.
Yeah, you really have to be dedicated to be a Doctor Who fan.
And it takes a while to grow on you again. Like when I first saw this episode, I thought, okay, she's very neurotic, her style. And sometimes it takes a while to like the neurotic character. Because are you just faking your neuroticism or are you genuinely neurotic? So I think in a couple of episodes' time, I'm like, yeah, I believe her.
It takes at least a season for the Doctor to kind of solidify. So I think next season will be more fun because we'll have that
Yeah.
Doctor ready.
And it's nice to be attracted to the Doctor.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I was never attracted
Yeah.
to Colin Baker. And
Yeah.
he's just like a father figure. And this one's like, she's neurotic
Yeah.
and she's cute.
Yeah, she is. Well, we have spoken about how Nicchia had a crush on Peter Davidson.
Yes, I did.
The Battle of Ranskoor Av Kolos. The Doctor and her companions respond to multiple distress calls from the planet Ranskoor Av Kolos. But when they arrive, they'll find that an old enemy that they thought had gone is returned, eager for revenge. The fate of Earth hangs in the balance as the Scooby Gang have to deal with a psychic field that attacks their minds, sniper bots, and an ancient powerful race that can bend reality to their will. We are introduced to Delph and Andy Neo, who are discussing a very important ritual that, when you think about it, we never see.
Yeah.
Because then the creator turns up and they have to deal with that.
The Ux.
The
and,
Ux.
and there's only 2 of them.
Yes.
How do they reproduce?
That's what I thought we were going to see in this episode. I thought we were going to see one of them die. Well, no, I thought it was going to be like one dies and then like a baby is born out of that body or something.
Oh, yeah, no. And then they had
The Ux is a new creation. We haven't seen them before.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seemed really topical, those people, because they were duped by this creator on the set.
Yeah.
And they're religiously fanatical. So I was
Yes.
like, is this a terrorism illusion where you just get duped by these hate preachers and you want to commit all these crimes in the name of it?
Well, they are the creators, and yet he turned them into the destroyers.
Yes.
And remember at the beginning they're saying the creator says you shouldn't understand, you should just experience.
Yeah.
And, you know, that sounds a little bit like, but why are you living in 16-story mansion and I'm living in a tent here?
Although it's interesting that they've been waiting to see their creator. The creator turns up. We find out later it's Tim Shaw. He's a guy who's half dead, can't survive without their help, doesn't have any of their powers, and they go, he must be our creator.
Yeah.
What if the Doctor had have appeared first? You
Well,
know?
maybe they would have thought that, but I think it was the blue light. We don't know their doctrine.
No.
You know, I mean, geez, Adam, I mean, you got something against religion here. I mean,
Just against the Ux, you know.
I didn't like the things on their
things on their-
faces.
Oh, you don't like
tattoos.
that kind
no,
of thing.
that freaks me out. I can't. Oh,
The Ux are into body modification, so
Yeah, I'm
I'd
sorry.
thank you to not make fun of them because of
all
that.
right. I don't like it. It made me uncomfortable.
You should have
Every
seen
time
their
they
back
came on.
tattoos. Oh.
Were they mother and son? Was that the relationship?
No,
They weren't very fleshed out. We got as much of them as we needed, and I thought we were going to explore what happens when an Ux dies, because I thought that's what had happened.
Well, I thought Delph.
yeah, that's what I thought Delph had gone, but it's never explained. So maybe they'll be fleshed out in future episodes.
Years from now, we have to wait a long time for this.
Yeah, 366 days and counting.
Delph plays Minecraft with his mind for a bit,
Yeah,
or is that
he
not a
does.
relevant reference anymore? Should I say he played Fortnite with his mind for a bit?
Oh, God.
Where he's creating all the rocks and
We're
everything.
Yeah.
not talking about Fortnite anymore. I thought it was Tetris.
We're more 90s.
yeah.
But behold a creator. Then we cut forward 3,407 years. Does that mean that we're 3,407 years in the future?
Yes.
But the Doctor doesn't know what the time is?
No, she mustn't.
No, because she asks Tim Shaw, like,
Well, you know, the
what year is
doctor,
it?
Matt Smith always had a watch. She doesn't wear a watch.
She has an hourglass in the TARDIS.
Oh, what's an hourglass going to tell you, you know, except what's going on in Days of Our Lives, really.
Yes.
That's it.
And there is no one time. Isn't that the whole scientist
Well, that's
trying
right.
to tell
Yeah.
us?
That's right.
When they're all on the planet, they're all experiencing the same time.
Yes.
And as the Ux say, live your truth.
yes.
Exactly.
The Ux have watched too much Oprah.
Yeah, they really have, and a little bit of Dr. Phil, I think. There's a
Yeah.
bit in there. Because you can be right or you can be happy.
Considering what we've seen of them, the second that someone shows them Oprah, they'll be like, oh, that's the true creator.
Oh, my, there's
There we
the
go.
creator.
Have you guys seen The Colour Purple? Oh,
Yeah. Oh, the creator's not blue. And really, he's hideous.
Yeah.
I mean, if my God turned up and looked like that, I'd go, I'm changing religions. I don't ever want a God
You
that...
want a pretty God.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
want one that's got teeth stuck all through
Yeah.
his
And
head.
and that's an interesting question. So
Who talks like this? I'm going to kill you all.
Tim Shaw is a recurring villain. He was in the first episode of this season. Where
His name is not Tim Shaw.
It's like...
It's Jim Jar
yes.
or something like
But Tim
that.
Shaw's much cuter.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So what did you think when you saw Tim Shaw, the villain of today's episode, not knowing anything previously about the connection?
Yeah,
between them?
I looked it up afterwards. He was horrific. He was quite horrific.
He
But then I
was.
thought, who am I to say that? We've all got our beauty standards. I don't know, who needs a pretty guy?
And he's covered his whole face with teeth now, so
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
start working down the neck.
Every time he kills someone, he sticks one of their teeth in his face.
Yes, he seems very brutal. What struck me about him is he didn't seem very murderous. Like, I thought he'd just kill the Doctor as soon as she arrived,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
kill that Graham as soon as he saw him. But he seemed more bark than bite.
Well, and I mean, that is the thing with Doctor Who villains. So in the first episode, he killed everybody he ran into except our main characters.
Yes.
He told them his plans,
Yes.
know, which is, what they do. I'm going to kill you very slowly with this long, convoluted, complex plan that you
Yes.
can probably all get out of at some
Yeah.
point. Ha ha.
But all these secondary characters have been written just for this one episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill them as soon as I see them.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
guy was throwing salad at him, so he just killed him.
Yeah. But what a waste. You should kill someone who throws away
It
like
was
a
in his
$12
kebab.
salad.
He just wanted the meat. So
Oh,
he's throwing
yeah.
away the
He's
salad.
drunk and he's just
Yeah.
throwing tomato at him, and so he just kills him.
And he goes, have my salad, Halloween.
Yeah.
Because he thinks it's a Halloween costume.
I thought he was very I thought he was even more menacing this time because the first time we saw him, yes, he was menacing, but he was also cheating his ass off to win this competition. And so I sort of was a bit, And then as you and I were talking, he couldn't climb vertically very quickly.
Yes.
That everyone else could beat him.
Yeah.
But when it got to the horizontal, he was, full on.
There were some nice visuals in this episode, like him kneeling in front of that giant machine when the Doctor first meets him.
Yeah.
That reminded me of like Darth Vader or something. Let me ask you, Nicchia, when that blue light happened, and did you think it was anybody other than Tim Shaw?
Look, I thought this has got to be Tim Shaw, but
too.
then we haven't had callbacks to anyone else. So, this series has kept me guessing quite a few times. Like in the Demons of the Punjab, I thought the demons were baddies and then they turned out to be goodies.
Yep.
So
That's my new IPL cricket team name, just for reference, Demons of the
Demons
Punjab.
of the Punjab. You should watch it.
And announcing Demons of the Punjab.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was so excited that it was because I've been wanting Tim Shaw to, I'm talking to my tiki-techie here, and my tiki-techie knows that when she's editing, I'm always going on about Tim bloody Shaw.
Yes, that's right. I thought it definitely had to be a Stenza. I thought the blue light, it was going to turn out to be one of those garlic bulb spaceship things.
Maybe it was.
Well, it couldn't have been. He didn't have that.
Oh, no, he didn't.
He just had the recoil
Anyway, I
thing.
thought he was very menacing and that was really good acting. I like the way she comes in and goes, "Oh, I've got a new coat. Do you like it?"
Yeah. You're looking worse for wear.
And I love it when she goes, "I bet those last 7 years really dragged."
Another interesting thing is that Tim Shaw measures things in Earth years.
Yes, he does. Well, maybe the Stenza like our calendar.
So in the first episode, Tim Shaw is introduced as a character who's on Earth to hunt for a random human. So sort of like Predator, they get sent to Earth to hunt for a random human. And when they find that random human, they take them back to the Stenza planet. And then Tim Shaw was going to become ruler of the Stenza.
But they're not allowed to cheat. And then he just cheated the whole way through.
Cheating isn't catching the most humans?
No, cheating as in he brought a machine to find out who it was before he got there.
So you're supposed to just land there and on your own wits work out who the random human is that's been selected by the Stenza.
Right.
And then bring them back and keep them in stasis halfway between life and death. It's a lovely way to end N.
Well, just asking for a friend, what are the criteria to be chosen by the Stenza?
We don't know. They didn't go into it. But you do obviously have to be reading a lot of self-help books.
Yeah.
We don't know if Raoul's sister was reading a lot of self-help books when she was kidnapped. So
well, you also have to work at heights.
Yep, I could do that. I could clean. I could clean up top.
you have to
Really?
meet
And then you want to be kept in stasis halfway between life and death with a lot of people with teeth in their face wandering around.
It just sounds so much less stressful than my current life.
We'll put in a good word with you with the Stenza.
Yes, get me in there.
Just a 3-month coma.
Yeah.
Would be just
We should all have a 3-month coma, like going back to the womb
Yeah.
for a couple of months and you come back refreshed.
That would be good. We'll bring that in. That'll be like the holiday
Yeah.
that you have when you're not having a holiday.
Yeah, like a little Stenza rejuvenation.
And then when people ring to talk to Ashwin, I can go, he's in a coma.
Yeah,
Sorry.
He was doing that 3-month coma, is he? Oh, okay. And if the Stenza are listening, I'd like to just mention that Ashwin has very nice teeth. You should definitely consider him as your next trophy.
Yeah.
It would make a nice bracelet.
The TARDIS received 9 distress calls from the planet Ranskoor Av Kolos. Now, did Tim Shaw send these distress signals, or were they from the downed ships?
They're from the downed ships. But
Right.
I think Tim Shaw knew that eventually the Doctor...
Well, because, Tim Shaw says that he has been trying to get the Doctor to the planet.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to be actively doing anything to get her there, because she doesn't know anything about it. She just responds to these distress signals.
So I assume that it's been a long wait. He's a very patient man.
Very patient, and just, it's like waiting for your crush. You're like, well, I don't want to call my crush, but I will not tell them that I like them at all whatsoever, you know.
But I'll crash a lot of spaceships around me and eventually they'll look over and go, hey, good looking.
But I'll destroy a lot of crushes in the meantime before I get to my actual crush. Oh, you noticed me? Oh, these dead crushes before you? Ah.
They're nothing. I don't know, maybe the Ux couldn't call the doctor.
Well, they don't know about the doctor.
Well, that's right. And he couldn't tell them about the doctor because once she realised that he knew her, then she would have thought he's not the creator.
The Ux they get very uppity when they find out that their god has had a life before them. They're like, ooh, excuse me, what? You were speaking to people before the Ux?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
They seem quite naive, though. They just go with the flow. That's
Yeah.
super
Well, there is
powerful.
only two of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
What can you learn from two people?
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
right.
You're just really having a discussion where you all agree with each other.
Yeah, it's an Uk bubble.
Yeah.
And all they
Straight.
needed was Andy Neo to be into it. And then she's like, yeah, Delph, this is our creator. And he's like, well, I suppose. You've been training me for 17 years.
He's
so.
the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out how they all get to be that,
Yeah.
you know.
Ranskoor Av Kolos, roughly translated, means disintegrator of the soul.
As Graham says, another cheery one.
Yes, but no one asks what language that is.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Because then they would kind of know what aliens they were going up against.
Is it really their home, the Ux? I mean, I know they walked it for a decade, but do they just like land anywhere? I mean, what I really liked is it was a callback to the classic Who because they're in a fucking quarry. And Doctor Who was always in a quarry in the 80s,
Yeah,
and
right.
70s.
I think most shows in the 80s were set where it had quarries. They
Yeah.
were very cheap to...
Yeah. You don't have to ask permission. You just show up and start filming.
Yeah, and it just looks like a planet. I didn't know if that was their home. If it was, then the people who came before them have done a crap job at building things.
Well, that's why the Ux were trying to build things out of rocks. They're like, oh, we need to pretty this place up.
Yeah, there must have been Ux before them. What, when you died, does your building collapse?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
But they
pretty...
seem like a very spiritual people. They build on the
Yeah.
inside.
And then the outside. And then destroy planets.
But the Doctor
Yeah.
does say that they've only known of the Ux on 3 planets within the galaxy. So,
Oh, okay. So it's not their home. I don't think
No.
it's their home.
but it's a planet they've been on for a while.
Yeah, 17 years he's been walking it.
Does that mean he's 17 years old and that she's been training him since he was a kid?
Maybe that's kind of what I got.
That's
but
kind of
it's-
what I got from
It's
him,
hard
yeah.
to tell because they live for a long time.
Again, we don't know much about the Ux.
No, we don't.
The planet is transmitting violent psychotropic waves that mess with your brain, so the Scooby Gang will all have to wear neurobalances while they're on the planet. Now, am I the only one who thought this was going to be a bigger plot point?
Yeah, I thought there would be more to it. I mean, it worked for the commander, but what I couldn't work out
No,
was...
you're the commander.
I know they stole my title.
Yes.
It worked for Paltraki.
Yeah.
But then his crew, who presumably went outside with him,
They seem okay.
they seem
Yeah.
okay. So maybe when you go into the domain that the Ux built, your brain settles down. I don't know. So I realised it was a good plot point for him, but I thought at some point, you know, when Ryan said, what if we lose it?
Yeah.
So
I thought they were going to lose it.
someone was going to lose it. You know, like with the planet of the Dalek, when Amy loses her bend that stops
Yeah.
her turning into a Dalek.
There's that bit
It
later
went
on
nowhere.
where the Doctor and Yaz have to take the neurobalances off, and I was like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
going to be a big thing. And they just say, oh, just a bit headachy. And that's it. They're fine again.
They were trying to pack too much into that one episode. Like, I was getting almost disoriented by how many twists and turns, and it was good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I had to go on a long disorientation because I took my neurobalancer off trajectory,
I would be okay if it comes back in the next season. Like, they have PTSD from that, you know, they're experiencing headaches and weird things. But I don't think that's going to happen. It's not that sort of show that's going to explore
I don't
that.
think it would either.
So why add the psychotropic, well, I suppose to have the
For the-
neurobalances.
Yeah, just to add to the tension
Yeah.
for the commander, and it worked. It worked for me. I went on the romp. It's Doctor
Yeah.
Who. It's a kid's show. It's a
hardcore,
family
yeah.
show.
They spend so much time on it and then it doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah,
It just
yeah.
doesn't seem
It did seem
interesting.
like a pointless thing to put in. It seemed like it was just there so the commander didn't know what was going on. Otherwise, the Doctor would know straight away. But she could have known straight away and still had trouble getting into the domain. There's lots of things.
I wonder if this is a writer's room issue where you get so many different ideas floating around, and then people like, we'll include this stream of the neurobalancer, but just we'll tone it right down.
Because Chibnall wrote this.
Solar,
he's-
does he have no assistants that never get mentioned? Is
He's the only one listed as the writer on
Okay.
the
Yeah,
episode,
so I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
But
But
he's
anyway.
the showrunner, so he's the one who's looking after the overarching storyline of the whole series. And this is the season finale as well. So there's no more episodes other than New Year's special. This is it. So kind of in previous years, the season finale has been a big story. But Chris Chibnall said there wasn't going to be an overarching story. I mean, this episode links to the first episode, but it's not like they've spent the whole series searching for Tim Shaw. They basically...
He's obviously been searching for them.
Yeah.
But they didn't know,
But they
you
were
know.
busy doing
They were
other
unaware of him,
things.
yeah.
They were rain bathing. They were, doing a few different things. It didn't go probably far enough, but you never know.
They didn't have time.
You're right. There was a lot going on. I was getting tense. I mean, I knew it'd work out, but particularly at that end bit when everything, I'm thinking, how are they going to sort all of this out? You know, and I really liked the undercurrent that Tim Shaw's there for revenge, and so's Graham. He's got his serious pants on for this episode.
Yeah, he made a huge turn in this episode. I was like, oh, wow, I was not expecting that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, Tim Shaw didn't kill Grace.
No, and technically the Doctor didn't do to Tim Shaw what's happened to him, but revenge and wanting to punish somebody. I mean, we just did the other one on grief.
Yeah.
Grief
I
will
understand. Yeah.
you know. So,
Tim Shaw had teleported away when Grace went to poke the gathering coil.
Yeah.
It's like someone bringing a bomb in and they leave it in a room and you go and poke it. Is it the fault of the person who
So
brought
it's
the
more
bomb
negligent
in?
homicide than...
Yeah. Look, I would still blame Tim Shaw.
Yeah. You still get in trouble for that in the law.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. You can't really take bombs with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
As I found out.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I just need to check your bag.
Yeah, that's
going
right.
Further.
I've got Sandeep's bag, don't worry. It's much more reassuring.
We're in trouble.
Of the 9 distress signals, it's lucky that the Doctor answers the only one that has an alive crew member.
Yes, well, that's the TARDIS. I tell you again, you don't understand, but the TARDIS is a character, not just a ship. The TARDIS puts the Doctor exactly where the Doctor needs to be at the time.
I thought it was very
Or
convenient.
there'll be some fighting later.
They meet Paltraki, who is played by King Baratheon himself, Mark Addy.
It was nice to see him, although he looks so different in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I knew it was him, but I think he doesn't look like Robert Baratheon at all.
Yeah.
Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
No, I've only watched the first episode, but Paltraki, what I noticed about him and the Doctor, because just coming back to the series after 30 years, the Doctor does not care when people point guns at her. Like, she has a courage there. Or I don't know if she's reckless or she's brave, but I thought that was an interesting character revelation moment.
I loved the way she talked him down.
Yes.
You know,
Twice.
Yeah, she's got hostage negotiation skills.
Yeah, she has. And then what's the name of the lady? Ux, I can't think of her name.
And Andy Neo.
Yeah, when she points the gun at Jodie, she'd cross at the Doctor. She's cross at her.
She's like, you need to give me some answers.
Yes.
Is that just because she has the power to regenerate?
Maybe she just doesn't care.
No. It's regeneration confidence.
Maybe that's why she's so flippant with her companions as well.
That's right. Yeah. Will we be safe? You define safe.
Now, Petraki asked them, did they send you? Considering he doesn't remember his name, nor what his mission was, and he keeps forgetting they have a conversation with the Doctor seconds after he's had it, who does he think they are?
Well, I ask myself that all the time when people come in and go, they are listening to what you talk about. They are tracking you on the internet.
It's a bit alt-right.
That reminds me, I forgot to ask, Nicchia, Ashwin, did they send you?
Yeah.
Oh,
George Soros sent me here.
Yeah. You know what they are like.
Oh, of course. We all know what they are like.
I mean, our Tiki Techie works for they.
Tiki Techi's the cutest name.
I was going to call her Beck Tech, which sounds like a Transformer name. Ring, ring, incoming call from Tim Shaw.
Ooh.
Now, he's still wearing his mask, and everyone goes, it can't be Tim Shaw, can it? But we all knew it was Tim Shaw, right?
Yeah.
It makes zero sense if it's not Tim Shaw.
What other Stenza would just be lolling around on the wrong planet using
No,
yucks?
it's me, Bill Shaw.
Tim's brother.
I've heard all about you.
You killed him.
It was a right laugh.
No, so I thought for sure it was Tim Shaw. And you saw Graham's face change. And you knew he was going to try and kill him. I could tell from that look in the TARDIS.
And he has quoted Tarantino, I will strike down with great fury and vengeance.
And now he's also quoted Die Hard, John McClane.
Yippee-ki-yay, robots.
The robots, yeah. I was waiting for the...
It would be the first time Doctor Who
that I've
swore.
ever heard the MF word, but yeah.
So it turns out Tim Shaw wants the return of a large crystal, massively dense, but still light enough to pick up. Convenient.
That's because of the Stenza technology. I mean, Adam, I don't know how many times I'm going to have to explain Stenza technology to you until you get it, you know?
You are a professor of Stenza Tech. I will give you that.
I am.
Where did you get your degree from again?
The Stenza University, just the Stenza General University.
Is that here at South Bank? Or is that right?
Yeah, it is.
It's a big tooth-shaped building.
It is. It is. I just pop my teeth out when I go there, just in case something goes wrong.
It's like smile recognition software.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It recognises the teeth on your face.
Yes.
Trouble is, if you piss the lecturers off, they kill you and take one of your teeth. So if you don't have any,
Yes.
you usually just get detention.
Yeah.
Now, why does Tim Shaw want this crystal back? Because it doesn't power his machine. It's just a trophy.
Why does he stick teeth in his face?
I suppose. But he seemed very, like, he was going to get rid of hostages and he just really wanted it back. And it's like, just shrink down another planet, dude. Like, if there's plenty of them.
I watched Doctor Who.
That's good. That's good for this podcast that you watch Doctor Who. I'm glad you watched Doctor Who for this podcast.
Adam was also raised by humans. And I enjoy it and I have a great time and I pick out a few little things and then I come here and then Adam picks out all the other things that I didn't notice and it puts me off.
That's what this podcast is about. Nitpicking.
That's it.
We could call it the nitpickers.
I'm never doing it again. I quit.
All right. Well, if you're playing D4WH Bingo, that's Nicchia threatens to quit.
That did not even occur to me, as I'm watching it. Did it occur to you?
I thought he owned these people now so he could regrow the planets again. Almost like putting a sponge back in the bath and it grows up and he can own these humans and these civilizations again. I thought it was like they're just temporarily shrunk.
So they're only there so that then they will bow down to Tim Shaw.
Yes.
Our Lord is Tim Shaw.
It's almost like, when you zip a file to reduce its size. And this is just zipped planets.
But also,
he takes it around to his mate's place and he's like, oh, check out this planet.
Yeah.
And he unzips it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
But maybe he did
That
need
planet's
it
pretty
for
hot.
the contraption that poor old Delph was attached to because he had 4 other ones there. And I think maybe they needed the 5th.
But then he doesn't get the 5th back because the Doctor has it at all times.
Yeah, well, maybe he was going to get all 9 planets. And so now he's just gone to get another one that'll be his 5th. Then it'll be Earth. There you go. There's no plot hole here.
No.
Nothing
Now
to
that
see.
you've mentioned it, I do understand when you're trying to collect a set and it's just really difficult to find that last one.
I know, and you just don't want to have that spare place in the cabinet. It's like when someone breaks your tea set.
Yeah, he's got OCD. And
That's right.
That was my favourite planet. Bring it back.
Bring it back.
I can't sleep without my binky.
I've got to count them 3 times before I leave, and there's one missing.
Yeah, did you notice how he turns the light on and off 7 times?
Yeah,
before he walks into every room?
See, it's OCD.
On the way to retrieve Paltraki's crew, Graham has a word with the Doctor. He tells her that if it is Tim Shaw, he's going to have to kill him for killing Grace.
And the Doctor says, go back to the TARDIS, and he says no. Now, the Doctor has locked Amy and Rory in the TARDIS before. Couldn't the Doctor have said, oh, well, that's a great idea. Run back and grab this gun and then locked him in.
But Graham does know that the Doctor's not going to be happy.
Well, he does. And then she says, you can't travel with me,
Yeah.
which was starting to fit into your theory
Yes.
that there's going to be no Graham, but there will be.
BBC announced that all of the main characters are coming back for next season. If I'd known that before this episode, I would have realised that my theory of Graham
Is shit.
maybe hasn't come true. So maybe I should shut up about my theories. Graham will be back next season.
He will, and I'm very pleased.
Unless they're screwing with us and he dies in resolution.
No, I don't trust your theories anymore. You just pull them out of your ass, really.
The Doc shares out the equipment. Throat mics so they can stay in contact. Code breakers for doors. Isn't that what the sonic screwdriver does?
That's what I thought. Just give them the sonic and they just wave it around.
And bombs and
Hey,
grenades.
presto.
Ryan is surprised by the Doctor's about face on the use of weapons. Because all season she's been like, don't use weapons.
Yeah, but if it can be rebuilt, it's fair game.
Like the sniper bots.
She's such an 80s style hero. They're so pure and perfect. And no one does anything wrong. Like Superman never wants to really kill anyone.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're more into the anti-heroes, right? Like they are a bit naughty. They sometimes kill, sometimes save.
We have mentioned that in the earlier seasons they did use a gun.
In the 5th Doctor, the Doctor was a bit more shooty. Tegan left, his Australian companion left because there was just too much destruction and death going on. That's the Doctor. The Doctor is supposed to be the person who turns up and fixes it with brains, with science, with hope. Not such a bad message in this day and age.
Yeah.
Why does the hero always have to be
dark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a good counterpoint to make Doctor Who different to like Star Trek or Star Wars, where everyone's carrying around a phaser or a laser pistol or something.
Yeah.
The Doctor doesn't use guns. You've just got the sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, or Kirk has just got his gun in his pants, It's always put me off Star Trek. He was just a bit woo.
Yaz and Paltraki are to investigate where the large crystal came from. Ryan and Graham are to rescue the crew, and the Doctor will confront Tim Shaw. Graham and Ryan escape from two groups of sniper bots who end up shooting each other. We've seen sniper bots shot with their own guns before in the Ghost Monument, and they got up straight away.
Well, maybe these ones got up too, because remember they were still being chased, and then they got into the stasis chamber, and then they locked the door, and then the bots were trying to get back in.
Maybe.
You really only have to have a couple, don't you? You don't have to make a whole army because they just keep getting up.
It seems like what are the white things in Star Wars that shoot and they're really dumb?
Stormtroopers.
They just seem the same level of dumbness.
And it's easier than just cloning people for the stormtroopers. With the sniper bots, you just make sniper bots.
They're always a bad shot.
Do the sniper bots always have to wear a hood and a cape?
Of course they do. I mean, if you've
They're robots. They don't have any parts to cover.
If you've got one without a cape and a hood,
Yes.
it's not a sniper bot. It's a nude sniper bot. I don't know.
Is that weird for you?
Well, it is.
Maybe
It
some
is.
people are into nude sniper
Yeah,
bots.
with the same people who went to Indian guys.
That's a code word for an Indian guy, nude sniper bot.
Yes, that's true. That is my Tinder name, which is why I never get any matches.
You can find Ashwin on Tinder, RSVP.
Nudes. Are you a nude sniper bot or you're the demon of Punjab?
Yes.
Both are creepy in their own
None
way.
work, yeah.
Then the Doctor encounters Andy Neo of the Ux. The Ux are a duo species, as we've said before, only ever two at a time.
I like the way that her faith is starting to get shaked.
Get shook.
Her faith is starting to be shaken by the fact that Tim Shaw knows the Doctor. How can he know you? And yet she still goes on in her murderous way.
She's deep into the mythology
Well,
now.
yeah,
It's kind of
and
like...
at some point when you realise that you've been duped, do you kind of go through that? No, I haven't.
It's like when someone deeply believes in a faith, then they find out about evolution one day. You don't just convert overnight. You need years of breaking down.
It's not true.
Yeah, maybe God set in motion evolution.
Go through that phase.
Yeah.
And then,
Why doesn't the Doctor ever tell us that sort
well,
of
first
stuff?
we have to prove that the Doctor exists.
Didn't I leave a podcast early recently?
Oh, yeah, you did. Where did you go?
Yeah, nowhere.
How did you get here today? I didn't pick you up.
I don't know, but I've got some shots of me rain bathing with Graham. I'll show you later.
Ooh, no, thank you. No. Paltraki and Yaz find 4 more of the large crystals, but fail to notice the guy chained up on a large pedestal at the back of the room.
Yeah. How did they notice?
They're like, wow, look at these crystals. And it's like, oh, what's that in shadow over there? Is it a guy chained to a giant thing?
What a shit existence for Delph. I mean, there's only 2 in your species, and the other person in your species goes, chain him up.
Yaz uses the throat mics. Andy Neo powers up Delph, and Tim Shaw's weapon is activated. It turns out the crystals are actually planets reduced down in a stasis field. Now, planets being stolen out of their orbit sounds like a very familiar plan.
Yes, I think the Daleks tried that one
Yeah.
in the saddest episode, which I can't remember its name now, where Donna loses her memory.
And all the companions come back.
Which had some lovely moments. Sarah Jane was in it. So they've already done that. They did it so
make
they could create a reality bomb.
to destroy all matter.
And Tim just did it because he could.
He wanted trophies.
Are all the people on the planet dead?
I don't know.
I think so. When I read about it, they've died. They're just too small now.
You think?
You can't do normal digestion and bodily functions when you're 3 atoms tall.
Because then they take the planets back and then they're like, that's great. Everyone on the planet's still dead, though.
Yeah.
Thanks for returning the planet, I suppose.
There's a new home for the Arks. There's a few new homes
that's
for
right.
the Arks.
Well, they're going travelling. They're doing their gap year.
Renovator's dream.
An entire planet.
Yes.
There'll be a new reality TV show. Do up Tim Shaw's old planet.
House hunters on a desolate planet.
Planet Hunters. So this planet's recently become vacant.
Yeah.
You may get targeted by the Stenza at some point.
There's been a massive genocide, but don't feel bad about that. It's over.
I have to tell you the worst thing. It's slightly over your budget, so...
I was hoping all the people were back, so I just pretended they were in my own little head.
Well, it's a kids' show, so I suppose that they didn't want to mention the massive genocide of everyone on the planet. The Doctor communicates with Tim Shaw, who advises that Earth is the next target to be reduced.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun!
Finally, we have something bigger than the small little circle that all the terrors have been. So each of the episodes have been great, but they've been very contained in very small areas. And I was saying that I kind of miss a bit more of a, not the whole universe, but something bigger is in trouble. and Earth's in trouble.
Well, and apparently this is the last season finale that didn't involve Earth or wasn't set on Earth. Is that right?
Yeah.
So this was a way of just bringing Earth back into the picture.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone on Earth knew that beam only really hits them for like 30 seconds.
But it does cover a fair bit of the planet.
Isn't that damaging the people? Because it looked pretty red.
I mean, aren't we all sitting there going, red sky at night?
Not again, jeez.
Yeah.
Is it another Doctor Who season finale?
Must be a season finale. We're in trouble.
Oh, give it 20 minutes, we'll all forget about it. Unit and Torchwood are losing their mind.
Yeah.
Yes. Or maybe it just hit like Tuvalu and the Maldives and countries that people have forgotten about.
That's probably what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't get to America.
No Americans harmed in the making of this episode.
Yeah, there you go.
Graham and Ryan start breaking out crew members, which alerts Tim Shaw, who pulls out his medical tubes and heads down to deal with it himself. Surprised he didn't have like a little walker with him.
Yeah.
And a gown to wear as he walked down.
But then he couldn't have a conversation without his breathing
Yes.
thing, and then suddenly he went for a stroll. He must have been feeling a little better. Maybe revenge is very good for you. I
Yeah,
believe.
you get that last murderous rush.
That adrenaline that goes through. Oh, I assume it's
Yeah.
adrenaline. I don't know what is in his body. But
Yes.
No,
I don't want to be
it's-
reptilianist.
yeah, maybe he was just cranky because there was that sticker above him that said nil by mouth. He's being prepared for surgery, so...
Graham gets to meet Tim Shaw.
and he... like,
I thought you were going to do the... How do you do his voice?
Hello, Graham. He's pretty brutal because Graham goes, you killed my wife.
Yeah.
And Tim Shaw goes, good.
Yes.
I know.
That was mean. There's no empathy in that guy.
No.
is there?
Screw that bitch.
Yeah, she deserved it. Did you think Graham would kill him?
Yes.
I did too. Did you?
Yeah, I don't know Graham very well, but I thought he just seems like a rapscallion.
A rapscallion.
Yeah, so rapscallions kill. This is all over for Tim Shaw.
Just a nod. Beck Tech, did you think he was going to do it?
Graham was going to die.
Oh.
Oh, you thought Ryan was going to die?
No, Graham.
Graham. Oh, okay, yeah. That's...
I actually did believe your theory that you had.
Well, if this episode has taught you anything, it's don't believe what I
Yeah.
say.
Don't believe anything Adam says. I did think he was going to do it, and I'm glad he didn't. However, if they had killed Tim Shaw right at the beginning, we would have had no finale. But all those people who were on those 5 planets who are now dead
Yeah.
would be alive. The Ux would be happily building out of rocks, doing Tetris or whatever. What is it called?
Minecraft.
Minecraft. One of those, having a lovely time.
Jeez, Mum. Understand the name of my games, all right?
Sorry. Maybe sometimes some people should just not get to live.
I like this dark twist you're taking, Nicchia. It's okay to kill sometimes.
Well, if you think about it, the Doctor had an opportunity to wipe out the Daleks, and he didn't because he said he didn't have the right to commit genocide. How many people would he have saved if he'd done it? It's a slippery slope.
And Yaz points out 1 life versus the lives of 7 billion
It's just
people.
that you have to be the one to pull the trigger to make
Yes.
that. That's
Yeah.
the hard bit.
And so he threatens to detonate the DNA bombs. And she's like, no, don't do that. But then he presses the button, not telling her that, oh, yeah, by the way, if you push that button, it's going to kill you. She doesn't press the trigger in that
Yes.
instance. So she's kind of okay with that. But then when it comes to, like, Graham actually wants to pull the trigger and kill him,
Yeah.
she's like, oh, no.
She likes
can't do
passive
that.
murder, not active murder.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Plus-
you killed yourself, technically. Graham says he's going to be the better man. Pearl Jam's Better Man starts playing, and everything's all good.
But I thought that was good. And then on the internet, a lot of people were going, oh, I shot him in the foot, and then it was all over.
Self-defense.
He shot him in the foot, and then they got him in a stasis chamber.
I would like to have seen that scene where they have to drag him into the stasis
Yeah.
and be like, come on, mate, can you at least help us?
Not helping. I'll have your
Make sure you stay away from his hand.
Well, they were kneeling on the hands, weren't they?
But does he get any wound care in the stasis chamber for the foot?
no.
That's eternity with like a cut.
with eternity and with gangrene.
Oh yeah.
And also, he doesn't have his tubes, so he's straight up dead. 'Cause
Yeah.
he has no tubes to keep him alive.
Yeah.
They've basically just killed him again.
Oh yeah, but they didn't tell the doctor that.
They're like, oh, we left him in a stasis tube. Doesn't he need a... Oh, anyway, let's go, shall we? I left him with a pickle and cheese sarnie. That's about it.
I don't know, maybe Stenzas don't eat sandwiches.
Maybe they don't eat pickles as well. Can they beat up Daleks?
I don't know. I've never seen them together, but
If someone would like to draw Tim Shaw punching a Dalek, that would be great.
How could you get close enough to the Dalek? The Dalek would shoot you before you got there.
How would you get one of their teeth?
Well, they don't have any. So
Yeah.
what would be the point of
A
killing a
giant,
Dalek?
giant eye stalk just sitting on the top of your head.
Just have like a whisk hanging out of your head. I see you've killed a lot of humans and one Dalek.
You just look like a unicorn, like a really cute unicorn Stenza.
There's Tim Shaw. He's the one who killed a Dalek, you know.
Yeah.
And we finally get a fist bump between Ryan and Graham, followed by a little bit of the theme.
Yeah.
I know.
I like it when white people and black people fist bump. It's like,
do you?
it's the cultures coming
Would
together.
you like to have a go?
Yeah.
Oh, we've solved racism, guys. We solved it here today.
And I'm only really part black anyway. You know,
Yeah.
Indians like to say we're black because of the aforementioned Tinder issue.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really work for us.
I want to play Ebony and Ivory now.
Yeah.
That beautiful song.
The Commander and the Demon of the Punjab.
Yeah. Fallen in love. My husband said that was okay.
Well, he is in love with Ashwin himself.
No, it's a non-sexual
Yes.
crush. He's just
Only Indian presenters. That's his main criteria.
yeah. Only Indian presenters for him on the ABC. So I thought
Yes.
that the moment that Ryan called him granddad again and said, I love you, was so nice.
Yes.
And I liked the way Graham goes, what'd you say? He goes, I'm not going to say it again. But the fist bump was perfect.
That was lovely. And now they'll just be travelling as granddad and grandson.
Yeah, well, and it'll be interesting. And maybe now we can concentrate a bit more on Yaz.
And her crush on the doctor.
She does have a crush on the
she?
dog.
We suspect she has a crush on the doctor.
I like
Yeah.
that. I mean, I liked how multi-ethnic the whole thing was, especially after watching Australian TV, Neighbours and everything. It's like, man, is this like being constructed to have one of every race?
Yes, yeah.
And now they're falling in love as well. This thing is fun.
Well, the mother, Yaz's mother says, are you seeing the doctor? And the doctor, and Yaz looks at her and the doctor goes, I don't know, are we seeing each other?
Yeah.
It's not-
And Yaz goes, no, we're just friends. But then she asks if Yaz is seeing Ryan as well.
Yes.
So the mother hasn't asked if Yaz is seeing Graham because she's ageist.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
But Indian parents love it when you marry a doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know if it marries intergalactic alien doctors, but the older she gets, she might just settle for that.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that
2
could be
hearts.
it.
Ooh, it was more hearts than the normal person. That's for sure.
Yeah. And she's a doctor.
We just want to see the season where Yaz's mother comes on the TARDIS, and every time they meet an alien, she's like, "Are you dating this alien, Yaz?"
I just met him, Mum, okay? He's got a big eye stalk and a lot of teeth on his
Still
face.
But he owns his own place, so, you know. Any final thoughts about the episode?
It's got me back into Doctor Who.
Ah, you're
I
going
think
to go
that's a
back
good
and start
choice.
watching the
Yeah,
season again?
I need more science fiction in my life.
Is there any particular part of the episode? Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, or the companions, or the story?
I thought she was fun. Just the fantasy. You know, I live and work alone, so I see a lot of everyday life. I see parks and roads and transport. I need something to pull me into like another universe. And this is a nice, easy way to get into another universe.
Yeah, you don't have to work too hard. You can
Yeah.
just enjoy it. It's got a lovely message and it's funny. That's the thing that I like about it. It's funny. And the more you watch it, because you understand the callbacks, the funnier it gets. Yeah, go back and watch Jodie's first episode.
You'll find out all about Tim Shaw.
If you start watching any of the new Who from Christopher Eccleston, if you decide to go back that, you'll have to let us know and we'll get you in and we'll do a review of one of the new episodes
Yeah.
that you've been watching.
Okay, cool.
So that would be good. And just see how you're going on your Doctor Who journey.
Yes.
Your journey back into the fold of the, I would say, the cool nerds.
Yeah.
Which is the
One
Doctor
of
Who
us.
ones.
One of us. Yeah. And as I've mentioned before, I was never into Star Wars or Star Trek, and then I found Doctor Who, and I was like, oh, this is my nerdy thing.
It's a bit of light sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's got heart. It's got a sense of humour. It's got time travel.
Yeah.
And everywhere you go, you've got your home.
As the
it's
doctor
like
says-
camping.
Yes.
Which I hate camping. So
Yeah, me
yeah,
too.
fantastic. As the Doctor says, travel hopefully.
I know. I loved that line.
Now, as we like to do, we like to give the episodes a score from 1 to 5.
I'm giving it a 4.
4, fantastic.
4 out of 5. It was not my absolute favourite, but I really enjoyed it. I went for the ride. You know, the tension was good. There were a few things that didn't develop that I would have liked to have seen develop. Good solid 4.
Okay. And better or worse than The Woman Who Fell to Earth?
I liked it better than The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Okay. I'm going to agree on a lot of your points. Yeah, there's a lot I liked about this episode. There are a lot of plot holes. It doesn't feel like a normal Doctor Who series finale. Yeah, there's just a lot that...
But do you think that's because there was no big story arc?
Yeah, it's fine as a series finale where there's no big story arc. But
Yeah.
it's like Ashwin said before, there's a lot of stuff being crammed into the one episode. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Ooh.
Ashwin, score from 1 to 5.
I'm giving it a 4.1.
Right.
4.1.
Yeah,
4.1.
well, the 4 was good because it's reminded me of the 80s and I did enjoy the story. The point 1 is what you guys mentioned just before. about how she says travel hopefully, because I'm terrible at goodbyes, and that was such a good, confident goodbye that she gave that group of. She's dealing with multiple aliens.
Yeah,
they've been through an ordeal together where some of them nearly died, and she just wraps it up so well. Because I think sometimes when I say goodbye, someone will go in for a hug. I'll go in for a mouth kiss. It's just awkward.
I mean, it was awkward when we turned up.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Same thing with my parents this morning. So she just nailed that goodbye. And I was like, I appreciate your goodbye talent. So that's the extra point one.
Oh, no, and that's a good talent to have, because I'm like you. I am so bad at saying goodbye that I left a job once and they had a big farewell for me. And halfway through it, I said, I've just got to go to the toilet, and got in the car and left.
Oh,
I hate saying goodbye.
It's hard.
It makes me cry.
So she's talented.
I'm rubbish.
She's not even from our culture, this doctor.
I know.
And she is nailing it.
This is it from now on. I see everyone. I'll go, well, travel hopefully.
Yeah,
I'm just going to the toilet.
And here's a mouth kiss.
Yeah. If you ever tell me you're going to the toilet, I'll be like, well, that's the end of the podcast, I guess.
Now, I have a question for Ashwin. We have given him many names today, and he's given himself a few. But what I'd like to know is everyone should have a Time Lord name.
Yeah.
So what would yours be?
I'll be the passive aggression.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. Oh, my God. Have you heard about the oncoming, the passive aggression?
Oh, my goodness.
Because I won't tell you exactly what's wrong, but I will seriously express it with my face.
So this will be, you'll get out of the TARDIS and they'll go, well, what's going on? And you'll go, nothing.
Yeah.
What are you upset about? No, I'm fine.
I've wondered why you've looked so disgusted this entire episode.
Yeah.
It's just,
I
it's
thought
a
it was
useful
just
skill.
because Adam wouldn't do the open mouth kiss.
Every episode, would you just be going, no, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, it's fine.
If you really have to travel, hopefully, that's how we'll travel.
That's how we'll travel.
If I have to tell you one more time, then you didn't really listen the first time,
Yeah.
did you?
So you'll run into Tim Shaw and go,
Yeah.
And he'll go, what are you upset about? No, I'm
Couldn't we
fine.
afford another baddie?
Yeah.
Sorry, Tim Shaw.
That's the worst baddie ever.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Ashwin, do you have any plugs for the new year?
Me and a couple of friends have worked on a new show called Help Me, I'm a Comedian.
Ooh.
So we're interviewing comedians.
Wow.
And they're telling us a point of pain in their life, an incident or something that they're struggling with. And we've got a psychologist with them who psychoanalyzes them.
Wow.
We share it with the audience, so we all benefit from the psychologist's wisdom.
Do you lay yourself bare or you just let other
I'm just the
people
host that just passive aggressive. I don't have
And
to
every
reveal
episode
anything.
you look at the camera and you're like, wow, that is fucked up.
That's right.
Yeah, but how are you, Ashwin? Oh, I'm fine, fine.
And where will that be available? ABC?
Yeah, so
online?
we're playing it on the ABC for every Sunday. So starting
Wow.
the 23rd of December, which will be before this episode, but for 5 weeks from then, every Sunday, it'll come out. And yeah, I'd like to do more next year.
Oh, fantastic.
Great, so
That
we
sounds
get
really
to
good.
find out how completely fucked up our fellow comedians are.
We'll be taking that list and asking them to be guests on the show.
Yeah, and then now we know their weaknesses.
Yes.
It'll help you come up with good names for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And keep your eyes out for Ashwin doing stand-up.
Stand up around Brisbane.
Are you doing Adelaide Festival or
Melbourne. I'll be in
Melbourne?
Melbourne. Yeah,
Oh, yay.
yeah, got a show called Blood Books in Melbourne.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, wow, fantastic.
Nicchia, any plugs?
No, not at this stage. I'm having a January hiatus. I'm instead of the 3-month coma, I'll do the 1-month coma. I'm busy just plugging this, really. Now that Adam for Christmas got me a T-shirt with our logo on it.
Yeah, great T-shirt.
Which I wore at a gig the other day. And shameless self-promotion. I'll be recruiting for the cult of D4WH.
Yay.
So that'll be my January.
And you can find Nicchia Shut on Facebook as well. So
yes,
like
Nicchia
that.
Shut, comedian.
As always, you can find Adam O'Sullivan Comedian on Facebook or visit thenerdinfinite.com. D4WH is on Facebook. Like our page and review us on iTunes. If you give us a 5-star review, we may read out your review on the podcast. Send us in your funniest, weirdest, wackiest fandom stories for our
absolutely.
episode. We'd love to hear your stories. And also get the word out. Now, you may be readying your house for long-lost family to visit during the Christmas season. It's bloody hot in Australia and it's also pouring down rain, so it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, yes.
You hear a knock at the door and open to find your cousins, some of whom you haven't seen since you were children. As you pull them in for a hug, you screech, "Have you listened to D4WH?"
And then give them an awkward hug, half
Mouth kiss.
kiss,
Yeah.
mouth kiss. And think of Ashwin.
That's right. Always think of Ashwin.
Unlike all the women on Tinder.
Until next time, keep searching the skies for the Doctor.
Yay!
Yay.
Bye!
This has been a production of the Nerd Infinite. And then the sound of dragons spitting fire and stuff. What? Why are you looking at me like that?